Okay, today we are looking at influences on parliamentary lawmaking. Now, law reform just means changing the law. We know that Parliament is the House of Commons and the House of Lords, but where do they get their ideas to make new laws from? What influences those new laws? Law reform is needed because the law, sometimes there are errors in the law, sometimes we actually need to modernise the law. For example, Offences Against the Person Act, really, really old, and really it should be modernised because it's 1861. Okay, so the first influence on Parliament is the political influence. So what I'm going to do is explain political influences and then talk about good and bad things with them. So political influences, each political party will have their own policies written in a manifesto. So general election is maximum every 5 years. You can have one before then, but you cannot go longer than 5 years without a general election. So the political party produces like a booklet basically, and that is called a manifesto. In that manifesto, it sets out a list of promises. So it'll have a page on education and it will say, if you vote for us, we will build 10 new schools in London, or we will build new computer labs for every single secondary school, and we will employ 10,000 more teachers, and then there'll be a bit on crime and justice and health. And what you do, you look through and you choose the political party that you think you agree with the most, you agree with their policies. Now, those things that are written in the manifesto are kind of promises, and if you vote for the government and they are elected, they should make those things into law. Obviously, it still has to go through the whole legislative process. So the government will, when it's elected, it will then announce the laws it's going to make in that parliamentary session in the Queen's speech. And she actually reads out a list of the laws because it's her government. They are acting for her. And each parliamentary session generally is about 12 months. Sometimes it's a bit shorter, sometimes it is a little bit longer. And the political party will then introduce those laws into the House of Commons, and it will go through the first reading and so on. So what are the advantages of this? Well, first of all, if it kind of makes the whole system of voting, it gives the public more power. You are playing a part in democracy because you are electing the political party that those promises, they are going to become law. So you are playing a part in democracy, you are helping to change the law. The other advantage is a government with a large majority. So it has, remember, there are 650 MPs, you need 326. If you've got a lot over 326, any government with a large majority is going to be able to get those laws that it's promised to make in their manifesto through Parliament. So there's a strong possibility that what is said in the manifesto will actually in reality become law. Now, if a government doesn't fulfil its manifesto promises, they're a bit daft because they promised to do that and you just wouldn't re-elect them. So although they don't have to, what I would say is good about political influence is that it makes the government accountable. So the government know that they promise these things, they know that they should become law. And if they don't become law, you will not vote for them again. So it really does make sure that they actually go through with the law-making process. Things that aren't so good about political influence, well, if a government has a small majority, that's problematic because it may propose a law and then you have a few rebel MPs who don't support the government, and those things that it promised may never become law. Equally, things happen. For example, COVID. The government were elected in December 2019, before we knew of this pandemic. So they promised a lot of things in their manifesto. They promised not to put up taxes, and they have actually broken quite a few of their promises, which is not good because they have, done things that they promised they wouldn't do. However, in their defence, unforeseeable things do happen. So yes, we're kind of saying this is a bad thing, that you cannot guarantee what's in the manifesto becomes law, but equally unforeseen things do happen. If they have a small majority, can't get through. Other things that are problematic, that they just may decide not to do things that are in their manifesto. And yes, you may not re-elect them. They may, if they have a large majority, equally they can get through laws that are really unpopular or are not well thought out. So the majority issue, having a small majority, is a problem. Equally, having a large majority is a problem as well. So have a think. There are probably more advantages and disadvantages that you can think of. But I would say generally political influences, the government are accountable. It's in their manifesto. Yes, they don't have to fulfil it. However, they want to be re-elected, so they are likely to.